20 years of education, and not once has this been taught to us. Have you ever wondered how some people work hard their entire lives but still remain poor while others keep on getting richer? So in 2013, when I was done with my PhD, I thought I've achieved the highest level of education, and now I am going to get a great job with a good paying salary, and that's about it. I still vividly remember the first salary that I was getting after my PhD was the same salary that I was getting as a security guard 5 years prior to then. That completely devastated me. And I thought to myself, okay, I need to learn about money. That is when I turned to books and started to learn from the best. One of the books I read early on was Rich Dad and Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. It's one of those books that people always said changed their lives, and I have to agree it changed my life too. After reading the book, I was not the same, and I knew my future is not going to be the same. I wanted to share with you the most important concept of the book, which you might never come across in your entire life, but it defines how society is broken up financially. And the concept is the cash flow quadrant. So in his book, Robert introduces these 4 quadrants, and I'll take you through them one by one. So the first quadrant is E, where E stands for employees. And that's where the whole education system trains you to fit in. Regardless if you are an engineer, a lawyer, a doctor, a teacher, an accountant, all of these people fit in this quadrant. This is where the lower and the middle class live. So the characteristic of employees is that they get a job, it's a 9-to-5 job, and they get a salary at the end of the month. Work throughout your life, get small increments per year, about 3 to 4%. So statistically, it will take you about 20 years to double your salary, and then they finally retire with very little money. These people get paid for 2 things: their time and the labor that they put in. So there's only one stream of income, your salary, which comes once a month. So you work from 9 to 5, work really hard, and keep your job. If not, you get fired. Simple as that. The next quadrant is S, which stands for self-employed or small business. Basically, you're your own boss. So here you trade your time and skills for money. So good examples would be a doctor with his own clinic, a lawyer with his own practice, an accountant with his firm, an engineer with his consultancy. However, you're still in a rat race. You're still trading your time and expertise for money. You keep working for as long as you can. You stop working, the money stops coming. You can't take a month off. If you do, the business fails. So the third quadrant is B, which stands for big businesses. This is where you own a business. Rather, you create systems that run themselves and generate money for you. The difference between an S and a B is that in S, you work in your business, while in B, you work on your business. And because you're creating systems such that you don't have to work in the system, you can scale it or multiply it such that you make it multiple streams of income. So here you can take a month off, but the system or the business will keep running itself because you have set in place managers, CEOs, or other sort of systems that make sure the system runs smoothly. And finally, the last quadrant is I, which stands for professional investors. Here, you make money work for you. You can buy real estate, stocks, bonds, share in a business, and let that money generate more money for you. Now, you might be thinking, where you end up in these quadrants depends on your education or your background or your trade or your skill, and that is not the case. And to explain how you can move around these quadrants, let me give you example by picking somebody from the lower class, the middle class, and the upper class of society. So let's take somebody from the upper class. Let's take, for example, a doctor. When he goes to a hospital, he's an employee. He works certain hours, he gets a fixed salary. And as you might know, no doctor ever got rich working in a hospital. That same doctor then opens his clinic, and he goes from being an employee to a small business owner. In the clinic, based on his skill, he can charge any fee that he wants from his patients. And as we all know, doctors make the most amount of money from their clinics. However, they still have to show up to their clinics. The clinic cannot run without them. And you would have seen a lot of doctors spend a lot of time in their clinics. They make a lot of money, but it's their kids and their spouses who enjoy the money. The doctor himself, poor him, is still stuck in the clinic. Now that doctor, if he then opens a hospital and he has a bunch of doctors working in the hospital, nurses, all these people, he then has created a system such that if he doesn't want to see patients anymore, all the staff and all the doctors in the hospital will generate multiple streams of income for him. And then lastly, when he becomes super rich, he can use that money to invest in real estate or other hospitals, other business ventures. So I hope that has given you some sort of idea of how a doctor can fit himself in each of these quadrants. Let's take somebody from the middle class. Let's say an engineer or an accountant. So he works in a company, a multinational company. He's really happy, thinks he's going to work hard, and slowly over time his salary is going to increase. But that is just enough for him to survive. At the beginning of his career and at the end of his career, nothing will change in terms of his finances. He will still be living paycheck to paycheck. Then if the same engineer moves to a small business or self-employed and he opens his own consultancy, for example, then he doesn't have a boss. If he works really well, he can get lots of clients, he can get good money, and he can pay himself any amount of money he feels comfortable with. If the same engineer then hires a bunch of engineers to work under him, he can then just supervise. He doesn't have to work from 9 to 5. He can just keep tabs on the employees, and he can let his employees generate the money for him. And finally, when he has lots of money, again, he can be an investor, professional investor, and invest in clients, project, whatever he's comfortable with. Now let's take somebody from the lower class. Let's say a laborman. People in third world countries will know. There's a laborman. He starts at a young age. He works really, really hard his entire life, carrying bricks on his back, and he reaches an old age. He has a white beard, he's tired. However, he is still paid just enough so that he can feed his family. He worked hard all his life, but he still remained poor. Hard work does not equal financial freedom. The same laborman becomes a contractor, and he starts to take projects. He starts building homes. He builds a small team. His income slightly increases. He becomes his own boss. He can take jobs that he wants. He can reject jobs that he does not like. And this slowly increases his financial status. And if that same contractor, instead of making small homes, he starts building housing societies. Famous example is Malik Riyad, from Pakistan. He's not that highly educated, and he was a takadar originally. He is super rich now. That is because he has created systems such that people under him are now going across the country, making housing schemes and generating lots of money for him. What do you think? Somebody like Malik Riyad is there planning houses and planning things himself? No, he has a bunch of people working for him. And then lastly, if he, in that same contract, if he becomes super rich, he can keep on investing in his own projects or invest in other businesses and make money work for him. So the people on the left spend their time to make money, whereas people on the right use their money to make money. That is how the rich become richer and poor remain poor. Now in his book, Robert Kiyosaki pushes people to the right, and he wants everybody to become a businessman and an investor. However, there's nothing wrong in being an employee if it is something that suits your lifestyle. Not everybody is interested in making lots of money. A teacher might love teaching kids, and thus he can remain a teacher and employee for the rest of his life, not make tons of money, but at least enjoy doing what he likes doing. There are tons of people who are not super rich, but who love doing what they do, and they enjoy life. Whereas there are lots of billionaires who have tons of money, but are still depressed, and some commit suicide. So my idea with this video was to show you the 4 quadrants and let you guys decide where you want to be. If you're happy with being an employee, that's totally fine. If you love doing what you're doing, you don't have to be a businessman to be happy. So right now I am an employee. I use that salary to pay for my living expenses and support my family. However, I am also making my way into the second quadrant and the third quadrant at the same time. And I want to share that journey with you guys in hopes of maybe I might inspire some of you or show you how I've done it. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have questions, you can ask me in the comments below. We are a small group right now, so I can pretty much answer everybody's question. So I won't be daily vlogging. I don't want to show you guys what I had for breakfast and for lunch and for dinner. I want to make sure each video is valuable. And because my upload frequency is not going to be that high as a daily vlogger, so the YouTube algorithm might rank my videos lower. So to make sure you always know when I upload a video, I would highly recommend you click that subscribe button and the bell next to it. See you in the next video.